One thing that I like to address is that the gynocentric society, when it comes to the topic of dating and relationships and different philosophies and different aspects of psychology, very feministic and gynocentric these days. Like, it's often talked about the topic of toxic masculinity, but toxic femininity isn't often talked about, right? And both of those things are real. In many of those spaces that are very gynocentric, instead of talking about toxic femininity, they won't even address toxic femininity as toxic femininity. They'll call toxic femininity wounded femininity, right? And they'll express that as the cowering away from someone who's oppressive. But what I want to talk about is later on, I'm going to make a video talking about toxic femininity. But right now, what I want to talk about is how there is a direct, by my standards, there's a direct correlation between men who use money or emotions as their bait to get women who experience sexual jealousy, retroactive sexual jealousy, and fixations on women's body counts. And often society gaslights men's insecurities as something that are completely irrational or invalid, right? But I do believe that some of these insecurities that men have in situations or in situational circumstances, those insecurities are valid and for a good reason. So let's say a man spends his life trying to become a quote unquote high value man so that he can have access to beautiful women, right? On the surface, this doesn't sound like a bad idea. You have the added bonus of having extra motivation to succeed in life. This is something that pushes you. This is something that drives you. This is something that helps you make sense of times when you've been rejected by women. And it also motivates you to spitefully uh, achieve a certain level of success so that you can spite and rub it in the faces of the women who rejected you. And I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. But what I will say is this: there's no guarantee that a woman's going to tell you the truth about her sexual history. No guarantee of that. Two, the things that you're afraid of that occur when a woman has multiple bodies on her or a large amount of sexual partners, those same things, most of those things can happen in a single night, a single week, one bad week, or those things can happen and occur with one, two, three men. And some of those same issues that you're afraid of occurring haven't happened with women who have been with more men. You gotta understand that. So the number is not that important. It's really the context and the quality of it and what's the context of your relationship. Oftentimes, men who use finances or use emotional intelligence as the bait to attract a woman because they don't emphasize the importance of biology and sexual compatibility to begin the relationship. What often happens is because that's not in their priorities, or they allow a woman to make them wait so that she can be more comfortable, which is using emotional comfort and security as bait for a sexual relationship. Because even if it's following a woman's program, that's just the program she has. You should have your own as a man. Know what you want and do those things the way you desire to. So that acquiescing, that's not really going to cut it right here for this conversation. But when you don't place those things as a priority, you put yourself in a situation to where you don't truly know if that woman sexually desires you. Not 100%. You don't know. You don't know if you approached her purely sexually, if she would have said yes. You don't know if she enthusiastic would have did the things that you want. You don't know if all the things that you give her credit for not being open to doing sexually are things that she's done before, is doing right now, or will do in the future. You don't know if she's fucking somebody else while she's having you wait until she gets quote unquote more comfortable. You don't know none of that. That's past theory, right? But oftentimes what men will do is they'll say, okay, they'll settle when they don't have what they want as far as the resources. They'll deal with women they're not that attracted to, or they'll simp because they feel like since they don't have the money to speak with their chest out and to feel like they king dingling around this bitch, to feel like they the boss. Because they don't have that, they settle for situations where a woman's not feminine and submissive with them. As they get money, they're dealing with women on a basis of, well, I'm going to spend this much money on my attire and on my car and on my clothes, and you should do that for yourself. But even if you just left the basketball gym and you in your second car that's a little beat up, your work truck, you should still have the confidence to get the same woman who you could get otherwise. That's my perspective. Because what's that woman gonna see when she's living with you every day? Let's say y'all really get together. If she has to see you every day, or say she got to see you naked, the stuff that you wear to make yourself sexy is not gonna make you sexy when you butt ass naked and the lights is on. It's biology first, man. It's biology first. Or you having an off day or off week. Maybe your grandpa died and you ain't get your hair cut. You know what I mean? Like some shit that might be going on. There should be something physically about you that's appealing, that is sustainable in a sexual way without it being emotional. Because what happens a lot of times is dudes will trade love for sex and women will trade sex for love. It's how most relationships work. It's emotional sex work. And that's really just an evolution of the old ways of traditional relationships where it was more so financial investment. But now women have their own money and sex work is frowned upon by most people. I'm not saying I'm one of them necessarily. I might be, but I'm not. If that makes sense. It's like if anybody gonna pay for something, it's not gonna be me. But let's say you're going about situations this particular way. That's transactional sex. Because for most women, there's going to be some man who she's attracted enough to that without him spending any money on her, without him spending any extended periods of time with her conversations, she will fuck him off of his attractiveness, his masculine energy, his dominance, and that mouthpiece. Or because she's just hot that day. And he was at the right place at the right time. And if you value this woman because you think she's not that type of woman, then really you're rewarding her lack of interest in you, her lack of desire for you, or her lack of an integrated mentality, right? Because for some women, as they mature, they see maturity as being more sexually selective, right? That is something that denigrates your ability to be the leader in a relationship, to lead the pace of it. Because oftentimes as women get older, they adopt more masculine energy if they don't have masculine energy around them. Because masculine energy protects. If a woman doesn't have a man to protect her, she has to protect herself. So social programming will just get stronger and stronger as she gets older. See, that's more of an issue with age than looks as much, because I've seen some beautiful women who were over 40, over 50, and they were still fine. So some of that wall stuff people talk about be tripping. Not completely, but a lot of it is based off of women they thought that were attractive when they were fit by a Eurocentric idea of what beauty is, Eurocentric beauty standards. And when those type of situations occur, most of the time when those particular women, they get older, they get out of shape. Because a lot of these women don't have voluptuous figures. I'm a black man, I like thick women, right? That's what I like. That's a preference. You could put a fit woman right in front of me and a thick woman right in front of me, I'm gonna pick the thick one. That's just facts. And part of the reason why it comes from a sexually integrated mentality, right? I think about sustainability. I think if you gain a little weight or lose a little weight, do I see enough proof within your figure that your weight will be distributed in a way that's still sexually appealing to me? And if I'm dealing with a woman, I'll let her know what that weight range is. You know, depending on the shape of a woman, she has a different range of what'll be attractive to you, depending on what type of body type you like. So me, I like thick women. I like bottom heavy women. So some women, They can be any weight, damn near. Not no crazy shit like 300 pounds or nothing, but they could be, well, she tall, maybe, I don't know. But they can have a big weight range, small to big. They can lose weight, gain weight, still have that ass on them. And I like that. Some women that maybe have, and maybe that's a pear shape. Some women have more of an apple shape, where if they're in a certain weight range and I fuck with them right, get that booty plumping up, they get a little weight on them, the ass will get fatter up until a certain point, and then it'll be mostly back and arms and stomach. And then that's when it starts to become more unappealing. But when you honest with a woman about that stuff ahead of time, and you have enough leadership skills to motivate a woman to exercise and a diet, help her with her diet and nutrition and things like that, then if you in a sexually integrated situation with a woman, you can just talk to her, and as you talk to her and you make your preferences known, when she starts gaining weight, you let her know. She start losing too much weight, you let her know. If her workout plan has it to where she's doing too much leg work, and then her ass is starting to get a little bit small compared to her stomach, and she's losing too much leg, it's like, hey baby, can you go ahead and switch some of those workouts around, because you're losing that thing that's fat back there. That's what I like. I don't like to see no air in your pants. We're not doing that. You know how you got me. You're gonna keep me, right? You don't want me to cut off my beard, do you? Nah, you like the beard. All right, cool. So we gonna work like that. We gonna care about each other's preferences. That's about sustainability as well. But really, what really causes that fixation on body counts a lot of the times is that you're investing in yourself to get women, and not investing in who you are as a person, but you investing in the resources you have. It's symbols of masculinity. Instead of actually being that woman's best, you just want her to have limited experience so she can't compare it to nothing. And if you're in a prematurely integrated situation, I can understand that. If you truly monogamous, she truly monogamous, I can understand that a little bit. Like if she a virgin or some shit. But what you got to understand is most women have more experience than that. They're going to compare it. At least be your best. Give yourself the best shot of having a strong sexual connection with a woman by taking advantage of that mystery at the beginning, taking advantage of that novelty, that excitement, that newness of a person where she don't know everything about you. Take advantage of those moments. Because oftentimes these prematurely integrated situations or situations didn't have to be that way. By the man establishing a relationship on the basis of trading sex for love, the woman would be unable to be fully sexually opened because she feels like that's more of an investment than she bargained for. Understand what I'm saying? So when you try to get more masculine, dominant, or you try to get more sexual with her, it's going to turn her off at first. Every once in a while, it might shock her system a couple times. You know what I mean? Catch her off guard and that excitement to hit her. That's good. But that social programming will creep back up. That she's going to feel like that's not what she bargained for in the relationship, because she's not seeing sex as something she gets to do. It's something that she's giving you, or something that she's compromising herself to give you. So she wants to feel like she's getting a compromise from you that's worthy of that. But the more you compromise, the less attractive you are, so the less she naturally desires to do it. You get what I'm saying? That compromise prematurely, that's that premature integration. It fucks up a lot of the capacity for the sexual attraction that could be there. Because in most of those instances, you have a Madonna whore complex, she has a gentleman gigolo complex. Neither one of you are looking for the full package in the individual. Both of you are settling in some way. You're settling in the integration aspect of the relationship. She didn't choose a man who she was sexually attracted enough to throw the pussy at on day one. Either that, or you led with some bullshit. Or you didn't know how to be masculine and dominant, but the attraction physically was there, and the skills could have been there. You just didn't have the game. And you settled by dealing with a woman who had enough sexual self-control with you to even play that game with you in the first place. Gotta watch my video about the theory, the cup theory. It's a parable. You gotta watch that. You gotta watch that to understand what I'm talking about when I'm saying some of these things. There's a direct correlation between them, for real. Between fixation on body counts and retroactive jealousy and the bait that you use to attract a woman. When you know, when you first start dealing with a woman, that she's dealing with other men, and she still makes all of your scheduled appointments. She schedules those appointments regularly. She makes it. She shows up. She's present. She has a good time. She treats you with value. She might spend her own money. She talk to you. Y'all got things in common. In that situation, you're going to care a lot less, especially if you have full disclosure before feelings get involved. You're going to care a lot less about her sexual past than a woman who is dealing with you on the premise that you think she's not that sexual, so you think she's going to be more likely to be faithful to you. Because you're afraid of sexual competition. And like I said, I understand that in prematurely integrated situations. Because if both of y'all are happy in this situation, especially if she doesn't have a lot of sexual experience, you may be the best to her if she had more experience. But automatically, the new men are going to have because you're not integrated already, and the emotional aspect of the relationship doesn't increase the quality of the sex. Because that's what happens when you're prematurely integrated. The emotional aspect doesn't really help. It may help her want to do it more because there's cuddles before and after, and she's gonna get some attention out of it, but not because she has that burning lust and desire for you. See, when that's the type of situation, what you got to understand is that the newness of a new relationship, sexual relationship, right, especially if that's not prematurely integrated itself, gives the opportunity for let that hurt go pussy. I've experienced it myself, dealing with women in prematurely integrated relationships, and they get out of it and they finally single, and then they do all the things for you that the ex-man wanted them to do. All of it. And some of it's because your game is tighter. Some of it, yeah. Some of it may be because your dick bigger. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes it may be because you're more sexually appealing and attractive, but a lot of it just has to do with, especially if she's already in a relationship, she has her emotional needs met already, so she's looking for somewhere to pour that reciprocation of sexual energy out in an uninhibited way. Like, people who want to open up your relationships, I don't suggest you do it unless you have a certain level of security, a certain level of communication, and also, to me, I like the idea of you either go no hierarchy or you got a clear hierarchy, right? No hierarchy or clear hierarchy. And if there's no hierarchy, one, you need to make sure you got options, right? But two, if the shit is open, if the shit's opened up to where she can fuck with other dudes, I suggest you already have a good solid foundation in your relationship. But also, and this is something I say that's important, you go through a list of the sexual experiences that would make you feel insecure if she fucks somebody else, and you don't go into that shit unless those things are established. And I don't care what her reason is. Like, if a woman says she's never orgasmed from penetration, how you think you would feel if you find out somebody making her squirt all over the place, and you love her, and this is just some jump off nigga who she met 2 weeks ago and she fucking for the first time? You're not gonna like that. I'm telling you right now, you're not. Now, if you're prematurely integrated, now if you say, okay, cool, I want to give her G-spot orgasms, I want to give her clitoral orgasms, G-spot orgasms, A-spot orgasms, maybe O-spot or cervical orgasms, maybe, and then also want to be able to make her maybe orgasm in one other way. Maybe she can orgasm from sucking your dick. Maybe you can make her orgasm from anal or nipple stimulation. But you want to have a general understanding of female anatomy, and be able to communicate with her and walk through the process of getting her sexually opened up. yourself, right? That's part of what integration is, sexual integration when you're prematurely integrated. Go through that process. Every orgasm you want to have, if you are not confident that you are satisfied with your performance,